Now, voters in Tasmania and South Australia go to the polls tomorrow, as we've been reporting today.
The race remains close in both states, with the strong possibility of minority governments. To hear more, the ABC's election analyst Antony Green joins us now from Hobart. Antony, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Virginia.
The Green vote, very important now in Tasmania, has been for quite some time, but seems to be assuming even greater importance.
Well, certainly. I mean, the Greens are proposing possibly polling 25%. That guarantees a hung parliament and a say over who forms government in the next parliament. It's a remarkable result. We've never seen a third party over time develop like this for decades. So it's quite a growth for the Greens. It's a reaction to the as Bob Brown likes to call them, it's a reaction to the old parties as well, because the Labor Party's primary vote is down 12, 13%, but it hasn't gone to the Liberal Party. Much of that has gone to the Labor Party. So for all the people looking through the entrails of the Tasmanian election, looking for federal implications, I'd say there aren't very many, because this is being driven by local politics. And if there is any federal implications, it's saying that there's a pox on both the major parties' houses.
Which there has been, I guess, but cast by the voters for quite some time. So when Tasmanian voters, I guess, should then take into consideration that when either the Premier or the Leader of the Opposition postures that there'll be no negotiating with the Greens, that's actually not true, and they'll have to.
Well, the Parliament will have to work, whether they negotiate a formal coalition or whether they just try to govern in minority. Parliament can survive with a minority government which doesn't have any formal agreement with the crossbenchers and can carry on in that status. So they don't have to negotiate. They can keep their word in not negotiating with the Greens and form minority government. So they can keep their words both ways. There'll be a bit of a race to the governor to see who forms government first if it's a 10-10-5 result, which is a possibility. But we'll wait and see. What we've seen in the two previous parliaments, which had no clear majority, is the parliament didn't last the full 4 years. And you'd have to think there would be some possibility of that occurring again if this poll result occurs.
What's intrigued me, I've got to say, Antony, is that during this whole election, at least as far as I can tell, there's been absolutely no discussion of forestry and logging down there. The regional forestry agreement, as I understand it, comes up for renewal during the term of the next government. No one wants to talk about it. Is that a reflection also of that Green influence and of just where the state is heading now?
It's a very divisive debate. It's also significant that there hasn't been forest protests and various Green groups haven't been campaigning on the issue either, so that they haven't made it central to the debate of politics. If the Greens had campaigned heavily around forestry, I suspect it would have been a far more divisive campaign, and they would have been seen as moving out of the middle ground, which they've sort of moved into in recent times under new leader Nick McKim. The other peculiarity, of course, of Tasmania is they do use the Hare-Clark electoral system, or Duckworth-Lewis, as I sometimes call it, and they can result in sitting members being defeated by members of their own side. The Labor Party might come back in with 10 MPs, 4 less than last time, but it may also end up with 3 or 4 new MPs as current MPs are defeated. There's a strong possibility that Labor may lose the election but get renewal at the same time. So that's another peculiarity of the Hare-Clark electoral system. It's a very quiet election in Tasmania. You're not allowed to hand out how-to-vote cards outside of polling places. And, of course, they got a great effort to randomise the ballot papers, so you never know what order the candidates are going to appear on the ballot paper.
Which I'd love to see implemented at a federal level. It would make it all even more amusing, I think. As you're crossing attention now to South Australia, Labor, it seems, could just scrape over the line there after some days of counting. Is that in your interpretation so far?
Well, my view is we'll have to wait and see. The polls have certainly showed a narrowing, and when you get 50-50 opinion polls, it comes down to the result in each individual seat. The biggest difficulty the Liberal Party face is they had such a terrible result last time that they need to dislodge a lot of sitting Labor MPs. So they've got to defeat 6 or 7 Labor MPs in marginal seats. Some of them will be locally popular and difficult to dislodge. The Liberals also have problems. There are several independents and a National Party MP occupying traditional Conservative seats. So the Liberal Party have got to win more seats than Labor. By beating Labor MPs, they've got to try and drag back some of these independents and seats from independents, and that's why it's such a tough ask for the Liberal Party to win government. There is a strong possibility it will be a hung parliament. The Labor Party will lose enough seats to lose their majority, but it gets harder and harder the further you go up the pendulum with the Liberal Party trying to gain extra seats to end up with more seats than Labor.
It's an intriguing outcome because, as many other analysts have said in the last few weeks, it's not a government that's actually done terribly badly. It's in fact considered to be a state government that's been reasonably good on the delivery of services. So what, in your view, has actually gone so wrong, either for the leader himself or for the government in general?
I think in the end, there's two things happen. One, the opposition's finally sort of got its act together with a leader they're all sort of agreed to be behind, and that's assisted their campaign. Secondly, I think people forget how long Mike Ran's been around. I mean, he's been in the Parliament since 1985, I think. A long time. He's been leader of the Labor Party since 1994, 16 years. He's far and away the longest leader around at the moment, and I think the electorate have just sort of tired of him in the same way that John Howard, the electorate became tired of John Howard, and I think the same's occurred with Mike Rann, which has made it much harder for him to sell the government's message. And of course they've also had the problems with the allegations of a personal nature against Mr Rann, which have impinged on his ability to campaign in some instances, and also caused the media to sort of want to ask questions about that every time he appears in public. So instead of talking about issues, he's ending up talking about these other issues which have, in the end, dented the electorate's trust in him. They've been much more personal in nature, much more questioning personally of his trustworthiness, and that has made it more difficult for him to sell the government. So that's, I think in the end, these issues which affect Mike Rann as a leader have actually impinged on the Labor Party's attempts to try and get re-elected.
Antony Green, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.